Hello, everybody. You're watching the Hearthstone Battlegrounds EMEA Cup. This is Gio once again, now joined by Educated Collins, where it is now the second half of the day. We're about to enter Lobby 5 and beyond. And Collins, if you caught any of the last two lobbies, anything that particularly stuck out to you?
Yeah, I think the big story so far has been Ardy and Habu Gabu. Habu Gabu had a really good performance in the first match, but he's been slacking behind, getting eights and sixths. And it's quite distinct because even though Ardy has been winning the lobbies, they're so close to the other teams because the other teams have been very consistent in getting second, fourth, third, and fifth. Right? They're scrapping points. If you get first, you only get seventh, and if you get second and third, you get 11. So it's a team game. You have to make sure both of you are on point for these days.
That's right. And we do tune in with RDU once again with two premium hero choices. What do you think about the Jandis over the Omu?
I think depending on what minion types are available, it really determines if Murlocs are in the lobby. I think RD really has a game plan of going for victories, right? So Elementals being in the pool is definitely a composition that Jandis loves, and Murlocs as well being in the pool, definitely another composition that Jandis loves. And those two are the compositions that seem to be dominating this final tournament, right? We haven't really been seeing any Caligoses at all so far, so he's looking for the compositions that can give him the most success.
That is true. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But honestly, we have been focusing on RDU so much because he's had this hot streak. But like you mentioned a while ago, the other teams are hot on his heels. The black team and the green team only within 1 or 2 points of range away. It is really the yellow team that has a lot of heavy lifting to do. Two players at the top there, XQN and Buddy Delicious. For Oliesh, though, he is on Lord Barov, which is a hero that we've seen throughout the weekend already be extra strong when you're able to get that information from your teammate. But he's not going for the turn 1 gamble, which I like.
The likelihood that you see a lot of ties in turn 1 is really high, so it does make sense. If you look at this board, only one person took damage here, so he makes the correct assessment knowing that the likelihood that people will be tying here is extremely high, deciding not to gamble and holding on to extra gold.
We have seen a player go for a turn 1 gamble, but I think you're absolutely spot on. A lot of the minions that are premium to buy start trading very well with each other, especially since Elemental got introduced as a premium token minion. But now he's going to go for the first gamble. And between Toki and Reno, they both have like sort of the same curve in the thought that they don't necessarily have a power spike this early.
Yeah, they both mostly leveled. You kind of have to look at their minion type and see which one has the higher likelihood of it. I do want to bring note the silver name's getting Toki again. When I was last casting, he had a lot of unfortunate like lower tier heroes, and we come back to him again in another weak one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he was on Toki just a while ago, and he ended up getting some Bolvars off the rolls, which was enough to coast into a 4th place finish, which is definitely good for a tournament like this. Ugly tier 2 shop for Habu Gabu, though. Only one minion that really has the health on it to make it worth buying.
He does get a pair. Even though these picks are not the strongest, he does at least get to pick up a pair and hopefully triple into something for the Reno to hero power.
True. When Bob doesn't offer you any of those more offensive minions, you'll probably just end up taking a token for more economy later on. But it's really tough to take additional damage as Reno because you're really dependent on being able to be healthy enough to use the hero power on a higher value minion later on.
Yeah, he's a little bit lucky here. He could have taken definitely more damage than 3 that he's gonna take. He's on 2. I mean, he's on 1, so he's only taking 2 damage here. Interesting. Yeah.
That is not something I see often from Edwin players, but we do see here for Oliesh the results of his last bet are...
How's it going out there?
Oh, he did not bet last turn. Like.
Yeah, either he didn't bet or he failed the bet. Either way, those are very hurtful. I think it's very weird to not bet considering that he has that elemental. So even if he didn't have the gold, he could have still sold 2 bets. So I'm assuming that he bet, but just got it wrong.
I could have sworn that there's an animation if you get it wrong, and I just didn't see it. But maybe I am blind. For this next bet, though, RD, you definitely... I mean, you would think Jandis is going to be in a good position in the early game, but he is currently last place.
Yeah, it looks like RD start didn't work out for him. You saw that he hero powered the 2-1 at the beginning, trying to get the 2-4 without taking damage, but got the 2-2 instead, and it still has it in his board state. So he really got punished for avoiding that 2 damage. Ends up taking significantly more than 2 damage if he decided not to be greedy.
He is just continuing with the greed strategy, which honestly, it's been working for him so far, just holding the triples to try and hit those tier 5 minions as consistently as possible. But we'll see now if he feels that he needs to take a minion a bit sooner, because he only has access to a tier 4 minion at the moment.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those games where you're really going to see how greedy or consistent they can be, because he's in definitely one of the rougher spots to be in right now, and we're gonna have to wait and see if he wants to go for the 4 or is he gonna greed for a 5 here still.
Does end up with a pretty good swap in terms of the amount of stats he gets back, and we do see that he is apparently holding on to the Murloc Scout even farther. RDU is committed to being able to get genies as soon as possible, and who can blame him, honestly?
Yeah, you can see his game plan that maybe you guys could try implementing in your own games, just forcing for genies and just abuse the fact that they're giving you a ton of tier 6, a ton of little rags, a ton of guards and things like that. So he really doesn't really care how much damage he's taking as long as he can go for the elemental triple.
He will be facing off against Alexis Diesel, who last time we kind of glanced over at him had this weird curve with Edwin where he didn't level soon enough, and here on 7 gold he is still on tier 2, and it's mainly because I suppose Bob offered him his pick of Murlocs in the shop, already had a golden on the Tidehunter.
Yeah, I think the reason that he didn't level early is because he started with two Tide Callers or something like that, and realized that that was a really good start for him to continue hero power.
Economy-wise, definitely so, but this will be finally the turn for RDU to pay off the triple he's been hoarding this whole time.
He gets 2.
Yep.
He gets 2.
Huge.
And he
there's
hits
the
the
genie.
Jin. Yeah, so you can really see that how his game plan is for this this tournament. He's really just looking for those elemental triples and hoping that they'll be good enough to carry him into the late game, because you can really see how strong those elementals can be once you start getting those immediate triples. I think he might take the brand just because it has really good synergy with Battlegrounds and Nomi and Jandis. So we'll see what.
Jandis is this real sticking point here. I mean, I'm worried for his current board state in terms of stats. He is, however, facing off against Habu Gabu, which is huge because this is probably the last weak turn for RDU in terms of board stats. And so the fact that he's facing off against somebody that won't deal the lethal damage to him is going to make all the difference for staying power.
Yeah, I definitely want to highlight that this is a play of a person that's played a ton of this patch. He really understands that these are the minions I need. I need to get the elementals. I need to get the Jins. I need to get the Murlocs. I need to get the Divine Shields. He holds on to a triple in his hand for at least 2 to 3 turns. You don't ever really see that in normal gameplay. People just tend to play their triples immediately, and you can really see a fundamental understanding of what he needs to do to win these lobbies.
As for Habu Gabu, though, he definitely has a bit more promise in this lobby as well, because we can already see he got the Mama Bear and goldened it off of the hero power, I assume. Yeah.
It's almost frustrating to see how often that you're getting these tier 6 minions from the genies. Almost every time we see them get a hit in the early game, oh look, here's a little rag. Oh look, here's another, another guard. It's just so consistent to go for the early genie and hope that they give you a composition after that.
So wild. He already just has 3 different minion types at the moment and the brand. So Amalgadon is the perfect one to get in this situation. And of course, it does hit Poison, Divine Shield, Wind Fury with that many rolls. Yeah,
he's even playing Jandis, so even if he doesn't get a hit that he likes, he can just hero power it again and go for even more stats.
I was going to ask you if you think that is necessary at this point, because I do feel like the Amalgadon is of a good enough size at the moment that I would look to hero power something else, but he doesn't necessarily have a jug or something that he really wants to bounce.
I don't think he needed to do that. I think the reason why he hero powered is because he's planning on leveling to 5. So he has the 3/4 on the board. He can hero power it and at least buff it and play it again. So I think that's the rationale where normally you would roll, but he doesn't want to roll on 4. He wants to roll on 5, get those elemental pairs. So that's
Definitely
the reason.
makes a lot of sense. The Amalgadon at that size this turn can carry the entire composition, and now he's just gonna have full gold access to all of the big power spikes later on.
Yeah, it does look like the Ragnar's got the got the ability to trigger before turn 9, so he got the extra buffs this turn. That might give him the stats he needs to stay alive or not lose here.
Oh, it's tough. The fact that the Soralisk stayed alive at 1 HP was big there to put a dent on this Amalgadon.
Yeah, he also does have the extra divine shields going off, so I do think the Bronze Warden will be able to clean up the rest of the board. But it was a close battle, and you can really see how powerful that Amalgadon is this early.
It's true, and RDU is going to scale out of control, but I'm quite curious to see where Alexis Diesel is at, because it's been a while since we actually got to see how the Murlocs panned out. He has started leveling now, but he's still 1 tier off of the brand. There is a Primal Fin though.
Yeah, so it looks like he tripled into the Burgurgle, and that's been giving him a lot of leeway to be able to just level and go to 5 here. So he's in a good spot now. Oh, deciding not to level here. Doesn't care about going to 5 and looking for more Burgurgles. Just looking for stats so that he can end on a hero power, it seems.
Oh, this type of play makes me think that he's a bit scared for his stats on the next fight. But normally with this much health on Murlocs, I would be very excited to just go to tier 5 here so he can really hit the big power spike of looking for Bran.
Yeah, this is a play that a lot of people do sometimes when they're not sure how strong they are in comparison to the lobby. I do think it would have made a lot of sense to level up to 5 here and just guarantee a brand, because the issue with staying on 4 here is the window to level gets smaller and smaller. People get out strong extremely fast, and once you miss that window, you realize you'll take too much damage when you level.
That's right. I mean, the turn you choose to level can be the difference of whether you take maybe 12 damage versus 20 damage, and the timing is definitely something that takes a while to get a grasp of. But definitely Alexis Diesel has more information than we do. He maybe saw that XQN had a decent board, and there is a Mama Bear on the other side, but it does look like his stats will still be able to take down most of them.
Yeah, he probably had a really good chance to level this turn and just be on 5 and hit a brand, because what you're going to see from his board now is he's really going to start struggling that he doesn't have the ability to get a brand or anything that could give him that heavy skilling that other opponents will have.
Still, it's not necessarily a huge blowout. He does save himself a little bit of HP in the immediacy, but I agree. I would have liked to have seen a level there. But with Oliash, it's been a while since we've seen the Barov, but that is a massive hit, of course, from RDU. He's only bottom in terms of health, but in terms of the power of his board, he is definitely in first place right now.
You can really see that RDU has this game plan of just killing other people. Seems to be the one always knocking other people out of the game in the early game. So he really understands how to do that quickly and just punish people for not scaling as fast as he is.
The one big thing is I feel like these turns where we've seen RDU go for the very greedy levels all the way up to tier 4 to discover into a 5-drop, he's been facing off against his teammate consistently. So he knows that he's not going to die, even though against maybe some other comp, the fact that he had so little stats for that point could have been a disaster. So it definitely feels like the stars are aligning for them. But to be fair, Alexis Diesel, even though he's staying at 4, it's consistently picking up Toxfins, and with the Selfless Hero, he might just be thinking, I don't even need Bran, I need Baron with the Selfless.
Yeah, it looks like his game plan here is not really going for the big Murloc skilling, but just trying to find poisons. That is one strategy. The issue is that it's gonna quickly become difficult once people start scaling and people are using compositions that are not just Murlocs.
It's true. I mean, this type of way of approaching Murlocs, which is make it anti-elementals right away, can just lose to the people that are maybe going for beast comps or death rattle type comps. And at the moment, the fact that he doesn't have very much poison on the Murlocs to begin with means that the Jandis from RDU is going to be dealing tons of damage.
He's actually has the position to tie here. Yeah,
okay.
he's actually going to get the win even.
Okay.
So what the poisons were actually strong enough to snipe the minions that RDU put in the beginning, and the rest of RDU's minions weren't good enough to stack with the rest of the Murlocs.
Yeah, the last few trades at the end there were quite fortunate. And to be fair to Alexis Diesel, if he knew he was going to run up into mostly elemental comps from here on out, then skipping just tier 5 altogether does make quite some sense. I never thought to approach it that way, but you can see now he's just looking for the triple on the Selfless, and then he'll start looking for Baron or even Macaw.
Yeah, you can see this is an adaptation that's made from playing in 4 lobbies previously, and you can really see the dominance of the elementals. So he realizes that elementals are dominant. How do I deal with this? Let me just get the poisons immediately, because people are getting the elementals so quickly and hitting people for 30 out of nowhere. So he's going for the poison elementals as a response as quickly to counter that.
And I love to see that we have our own little pocket meta, here for this tournament, because you very rarely see this from an individual player on ladder as Murlocs just skipping a pretty healthy position to go for tier 5 and look for Brand, because that's the bread and butter of how you play Murlocs to begin with. But for this specific tournament, we do have that elemental meta like you mentioned. For Silvername on the Toki, it's also been a while since we've seen what he's doing, but he did have that very interesting hero that you mentioned, not necessarily that high tier.
Yeah, he's been able to find to level to 5 in hero power and get 2 rags and a Gnar. So he's looking to be solid as long as he doesn't get too punished here and takes too much damage. He should be able to scale in a respectable way that should be able to deal with most board states.
Oh, that big hit of the Gnar into the Poison Divine Shield is quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
But he will stay alive.
Yeah, I think he's definitely alive here. Yeah, so he has one more loss in him before he gets knocked out, and he's in a kind of a weird spot now because he's not scaling as fast as the other people. Yeah, and if he gets into RDU at some point, he's gonna get destroyed. So hopefully he really wants to dodge RDU so he can scale in a faster pace and not get too punished.
This feels like deja vu, and you've got to feel for Bootylicious because RDU has just been bullying lobby after lobby with giant elementals.
Yeah,
Not the greatest tier 6 role for Silvername though.
Yeah, you can really see that decision to hold on to the triple for multiple turns really coming into fruition here. Not a play you see a lot of people making, but you can see the difference it makes to get that early Jhin in the lobby and then go from there. Ooh, what a massive hit.
Yeah, he is putting together quite a powerful elemental comp of his own. Not gonna rival RDUs at the moment, but everybody else in the lobby still has to be quite scared of this. Another Tavern Tempest is a huge pickup. That's the best one to get when you have Lil Rag for the double procs on the elemental buffs.
Yeah, I was definitely wondering if he was going to sell the spawn, because the spawn is actually one of the worst hits that the Little Rat could hit, but it's very common to see that. So I do think it makes a lot of sense to sell the spawn because it will fall off fairly quickly, and he did want to get that Jhin on the board.
It's unfortunate that he can't direct the Little Rags to start buffing his Hydra. The cleave is definitely going to be the big carry at this point, but still, the rest of his minions are of a size where they can challenge the Mama Bear comp that we can see over from XQN.
Oh, what a massive play that the Lich King goes first.
The Hydra got an insane cleave right on the Mama Bear, which means that it's only the Hyena, which is the last bastion against all these elementals. Probably only going to take down the Gar. Okay, got the hit on the Genie.
Yeah,
and then another one bites the dust pair of RDU.
Yeah, you can actually see that if the Lich King moved his either Silvername went first or the Lich King moved his taunt a little bit back to prevent that taunt from dying immediately, he probably would have won that round and maybe taken out Silvername. So what a positioning mattering so much there in that those battles.
Absolutely huge, because with Goddammit eliminated, that also means that they're not in a good spot as a team necessarily, because Silvername is just scrapping by once again with Toki. honestly impressive that he makes it to top 4 at all. But the real story here is that both XQN and Bootylicious, who were in the worst spot to begin with as a team going into this lobby, have now fallen, both of them in the bottom 4, and they're going to be even farther away from closing the gap.
Yeah, as well as RDU and Habu Gabu. Habu Gabu making a resurgence, right? It is a team game. You do need your teammates to perform. So he's pulling his weight and really salvaging this lead that RDU has built in the first 4 games.
Abu Gabu rolling over another Hydra there because his Hydra is already golden and he doesn't just have space. He doesn't want to sell any of these, looking for the triple on the High Main and the Rat Pack because they both get a lot of value off the Golden Mama Bear.
Yeah, he's just looking for triples. He could consider getting that taunt, but I think right now the priority is to get those triples so he can get big upgrades and find other pieces to flesh out his composition. But he is fairly strong this turn.
Cleave will definitely put in a lot of work here. The fact that it can take a value trade over the Garb, at least for the first hit, was huge, but it does go far right there, and that is kind of a disaster.
What a massive attack there. I think that will be the deciding attack right there. The Mama Bear needed to survive for Habu Gabu to be able to win this round, but with that hit right there, it's over.
Really is, and I was hoping that maybe there would be a snipe on the Goldren to try and compensate, but not quite it. I love how we're just having this casual montage every couple minutes of RDU killing this player, then that player. Is it all 4 of them have been knocked out by RDU so far?
Yeah, pretty much. It's actually so funny to just every couple of seconds we'll turn back to RDU knocking out another player. Here's RDU knocking out another player. Looks like Silvername takes it.
He is on a win streak for sure, but for Silvername, it is very impressive that he's gotten this far on Toki. It's going to be a one-on-one now versus RDU. He levels despite knowing that this could be his last life because he absolutely needs to hit a poison to have a chance of winning, and there is the Myexna straight away.
Yeah, even with this poison pickup, it doesn't look hopeful for Silvername here. They've got so many, RDU got so many stats. And you can see, right, it was looking so scary for RDU at the beginning of the round, right? You saw him holding on to the pair. You saw him holding on to this triple, looking for the answer. And you can see how powerful getting that early Jin is, just giving him the window he needs to scale all the way to first or second place. So just a massive understanding of this patch right here.
Absolutely, but we do have to note Alexis Diesel on 4th place. That's a very impressive finish for a very unorthodox approach to a curve to begin with, where he didn't level on 4 gold as Edwin, and also just skipped leveling to tier 5 for the longest time as well because he realized he didn't need Bran. I think that type of adaptation is what we need to see from players after they realize that the meta right now is being defined by this power level and hit Jin type of strategy.
Yeah, it's really just nice to see people learning from their previous games and making adaptations so that they can win specific metas, specific tournaments.
And for Silvername, even though it looks like he is heavily outclassed by the stats from RDU's side of the board, it's a big deal that he finishes second because it means that Habu Gabu is knocked down by a little slot. So it's not the complete dominance from RDU and Habu Gabu. They will have a healthy lead after this, but Silvername and Goddammit will still definitely be within shooting range.
Yeah, I think this was a very good game for Silvername and Dummit, being second and fifth respectively. Should be able to claw out a small lead in the standings, taking second place. So it is still a big win for RDU and Habu Gabu, but we do see that the other teams are making their own pushes.
Absolutely. We're in the home stretch now, Collins, because that was one of the later lobbies. And as we take a look at the standings, we'll know how many chances the players have left to close the gap. It certainly feels like XQN and Bootylicious are out of contention to make first place at this point. But we do have 3 lobbies for the black team to overcome a 9-point deficit. And green team, it was not that obvious, but they're just 6 points away.
Yeah, you can kind of see that the top 2 the winners in the previous two lobbies, right? They're also doing really well in this lobby. RDU and Habu Gabu had that massive dominance in yesterday's match, and they're still continuing on. RDU even taking the mantle of being the master in these lobbies, just getting three firsts in a row. So really understands how to do it, and Habu Gabu doing well, bringing back the lead, getting a third place, making that first place lead so big.
That is right. So Collins, today I've noticed that there haven't really been too many standout weird hero picks performing or getting wins out of nowhere, unlike the Daryl that we saw a couple of days ago. I will say for Silvername, it's very impressive. He made 2 top 4s with Toki, but the real headliner is the fact that Economy